Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Shelley Winter Show, fresh off of the Roots Picnic with Jay-Z. All of our bumpers got rid of the intro for tonight. Because with all of our bumper music tonight is Jay-Z and the Roots. So we'll have fun with that. We'll talk about that festival and that performance later on in the show, but I've got to start here. All right, I've got to start here, my friends. When I was about 12 or 13 years old, my mom was the middle child of my Aunt Jackie was the oldest. My mom was number two, and my Uncle Walter was the youngest. He was the only boy my grandparents had, Walter and Letty Lockhart. And so my mom, when I was about 12 or 13 years old, she started planning probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years out, a huge 50th wedding anniversary for my grandparents. And she started planning this thing. It was going to be a total surprise. And she pulled it off. And I want to talk about that because it leads me into what I really want to talk about, right? This story. So my mom started planning, right? And the way they got my grandparents to come to this wedding, if you will, I'm doing air quotes. My mom told my grandparents that they were going to be the maid of honor and the best man of one of my cousins who was getting married. Now, my cousin wasn't getting married. They just made this up. And so my grandfather had to put on a tuxedo, and they told my mom to wear that the bride, the fake bride, wanted her maid of honor to have on all white. So my grandmother went out and found a nice white dress. And so she's planning. She planned the catering. She planned the location. She planned the music. She planned the alcohol. Everything went in. She planned everything. And maybe about a month out from the big event, my Aunt Jackie and my Uncle Walter started to inject themselves in something that my mom was planning on her own. Not because she wanted to, it's just that they weren't helping her. And I remember my mom, when there was a down payment to put for the catering, she put the money down. She put the money, right? And they started coming to her about a month out saying they wanted to be more involved. They wanted to speak. My Uncle Walter wanted his wife to be involved. It was just different things coming up at the last minute. And my mom was very stressed out, I remember, because it was at the last minute, the people who had not put any money into it or had not done anything were coming in at the last minute, trying to change things. Well, we should do this, we should do that. And my mom was very frustrated, I remember, at the time. I bring this story up, a very personal story, a family story. I bring it up because that's the way, that's what I was reminded of when I found out that America 250 and Freedom 250 are two different things. Up until now, up until about 4 or 5 hours ago, I thought they were the same thing. But they are two distinctly different organizations. America 250 was signed and by President Barack Obama signed it. Congress authorized the funding for America 250. In 2016. That's in 10 years, we're going to be 250 years old. Let's start planning now. And Congress authorized funds. They put together a commission, a bipartisan commission of elected officials, Republicans and Democrats, African Americans, women, all kinds of people, just a commission. And they put this thing together for America 250. And that's what you saw, these bands that had agreed to perform over several days, over a week and a half to 2 weeks or so. They were going to perform at different concerts for America 250, celebrating the 250th birthday of America. In 2025, the Trump administration took resources from America 250, moved them over to Freedom 250, and it became something else. And I bring this up to say what I posted about the artists and everything, a bunch of people, many hundreds of comments, a bunch of people came on and said, these people are sick. Why aren't they patriotic? Why are they canceling? They hate America. This was the theme of many of the comments. But then I realized that these people who had signed on to Morris Day and the Time and people, Vanilla Ice and people like that, they had signed on to America 250, not to Freedom 250, which was totally stolen from America 250. The money, the resources, everything by the Trump administration, which is why they all said, no, this is not what I signed up for. So the argument now is not about these people and challenging their patriotism, that they don't want to perform for America's birthday, which is what, many people thought. No, they don't want to perform for something that's decidedly become about one person. And I get that. As a Trump voter 3 times, as someone who doesn't hate the man, I don't have TDS, contrary to what so many of you believe. I just disagree with things that are happening, and I voice those disagreements. And it seems like you can't disagree. That's what the indication from all the people that come at me. It seems like you can't disagree with anything. But there's some things I disagree with. And I understand why people would say, no, wait a minute. We're the Commodores. We signed up to perform for America 250 because it's a celebration of America's 250th birthday. That's what we wanted to do. We were going to wear red, white, and blue spandex suits and do our thing. But when you start a whole new organization a year out and you reapportion the monies from the first organization that was started in 2016 and move it to your organization that started in 2025, you just popped up as a 501c3 in 2025 with a whole new organizational setup and management team, it's now no longer about America 250. It's about you. And everybody recognized that. And that's the problem here. It's like going back to my mom's surprise 50th wedding anniversary for my grandparents. My mom started planning 2 years before the 50th wedding anniversary date. Her siblings came in a month before and tried to change everything. They hadn't spent any money. They hadn't donated any money. They hadn't done anything towards the planning. They weren't there when the tables were being planned or the decorations were being organized and planned. They weren't there when the programs were being printed. They just showed up at the last minute and tried to just take over the event as children of my grandparents without doing anything, and just tried to change the whole thing. And that's what's going on here. And it's at a certain point, you've got to ask this fundamental, logical question. Who is the patriot here? The groups who are planning for almost 9 years to have a national birthday celebration for the 250th anniversary of the founding of the greatest country on planet Earth? Or the person who steps in at the last minute and tries to change the whole thing to be basically about him? That's the fundamental question. Whether you like him or not, that's the fundamental question all fair-minded people are asking. Because if the birthday of a country that's been around 250 years becomes about one person, then is it really the country's birthday anymore? Or is it the man's birthday? Or is it the man's celebration? That's a fundamental question all patriots, Democrat or Republicans, have to answer for themselves. I cannot answer it for you. But I know America 250, which was started as a 501c3 in 2016 and announced the Bushes and the Obamas as national co-chairs in 2024. That was a celebration of this great country. Now, Freedom 250 is something entirely different. And before you come at me about country and rock music being the central theme of the performances for Freedom 250, let me tell you this. You live in America. Rock and country are not the only two genres of music in America in 2026. There's blues, there's jazz, there's hip-hop, there's pop, there's soul, there's bluegrass. If you think that only Morgan Wallen or Kid Rock is representative of 250 years of American music, you are sorely, sorely ignorant and delusional. It's the Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back. 404-872-0750. When we come back, I want to talk about my weekend. We'll be right back.